the Grove of Epiphany, where knowledge flourishes and philosophers are born. A place famed throughout Amphorias for producing countless sages in the past. Among them, one sage uses himself as a sword when questioning reason, rending falsehoods, and igniting the flames of truth. The reality of this world is unveiled through him. On this episode of Keeping Up with Star Rail, let us approach one of the 7 sages of the Grove of Epiphany, Anaxa, the Demise Scholar. We've invited Miss Hyacine, head healer of the Twilight Courtyard and teaching assistant at the Grove of Epiphany, as our guest today. I should be taking my hat off to an esteemed lady, but today's a bit difficult.
Hello, everyone! It's a pleasure. You know, I really love this show, and especially you, Birdie.
Birdie? What an adorable nickname! Oh, when did I get so famous in Amphorias?
Birdie, you look so soft and fluffy. Who wouldn't love you?
Fluffy? Don't say that word to me! Are you after my feathers as well? They've already plucked my most precious feather! Oh, but that's a long story. Let's get down to business for now. Having obtained a valuable piece of teaching material, let's see exactly how Professor Anaxa oversees his classes. Anaxa is a wind character following the path of erudition. He is gentle in nature and stern as a teacher. But if you really don't understand, he can also beat some sense into you. A little bit. When using basic attack, Anaxa deals wind damage to one designated enemy. The trait's roaming signifier allows Anaxa's basic attack to additionally regenerate some energy. When using his skill, Anaxa firstly deals wind damage to one designated enemy, followed by multiple instances of wind damage to one random enemy unit. These instances will prioritize bouncing to enemy targets that have not yet been hit by his skill. It's worth mentioning that his skill will deal more damage when more enemies are on the field. I thought Professor Anaxa was just an elegant scholar. I didn't expect him to be such an expert in combat.
The professor believes that the pursuit of knowledge shouldn't be limited to books. Only experimentation can generate the truth.
I know it's all about powerful persuasion.
True. The professor always persuades opponents as gently as a breeze caressing the face.
After Anaxa hits an enemy target once, he applies one weakness of a random type to the target for several turns. When a target possesses enough weaknesses, it will enter the qualitative disclosure state, and Anaxa will deal more damage to it. After Anaxa uses his basic attack or skill on targets in qualitative disclosure, he will additionally use one instance of his skill on the target without consuming skill points. It's worth noting that the trace roaming signifier causes Anaxa to immediately regenerate energy if there are no enemy targets in qualitative disclosure at the start of a turn. Amphorias is crawling with dangers under the cover of the black tide. But even the most fearsome enemies are just alchemical components for Professor Anaxa.
That's an honor not easily bestowed upon any enemy.
An honor indeed. The trace Imperative Hiatus will provide different buffs depending on how many erudition characters are in the ally team. Example, when Anaxa is the only erudition character in the team, his own crit damage becomes enhanced. If at least one other erudition character is present in the team alongside Anaxa, all allies' damage is boosted. When he uses his ultimate, Anaxa inflicts sublimation on all enemies. While in sublimation, 7 weakness types will be implanted in enemies simultaneously, lasting until the start of the enemy's turn. And he will also deal wind damage to all enemies. That's impressive, still for a scholar to be armed with such a deadly weapon.
That's a teaching tool, Birdie. It makes sense for a teacher to carry their tools with them.
When using his technique, Anaxa inflicts terrified on enemies within a set radius, causing them to flee from him like the cowards they are. Actively attacking terrified enemies will be considered entering battle via attacking a weakness. After entering battle, every enemy target will be inflicted with the weakness of the attacker's type for several turns. I wonder if Professor Anaxa is as forceful when hunting down students who skipped his class.
Well, they'd be running for their lives for sure.
Okay, let's sum it up. A truly great scholar never seeks breakthroughs. They create breakthroughs. Professor Anaxa is good at adding weaknesses to enemies and judging them accordingly. All of his attacks can add new weaknesses to the enemy. And after an enemy has enough weaknesses, his damage dealt to the enemy further increases as well as triggering one extra skill. He has frequent AoE attacks and has the ability to implant many weaknesses in enemies, allowing him to support his team in managing different kinds of battles. All right, Professor Anaxa may be strict, but it's still an honor for students to study under him. Lo and behold, we've got a group coming to see what kind of test the professor has prepared for them. Ooh, this test has an amazing lineup of examiners, including a famous, unparalleled, and absolutely inimitable lady. Now the answer is clear. The examiners need to figure out how to stack this true genius's interpretation as soon as possible. As for how, let's watch Professor Anaxa's performance. As they enter battle, the enemy already has a set stack of interpretation on them, despite already making trouble for the examiners. But there aren't enough interpretation stacks yet. Thankfully, Professor Anaxa is making his move. He uses his ultimate to inflict sublimation on all enemies, adding 7 weakness types to them, and also inflicting qualitative disclosure. Professor Anaxa shows no mercy while facing enemies in qualitative disclosure, following with his skill after using his basic attack. This string of attacks applies many stacks of interpretation on the enemies, making the most beautiful member of the Genius Society hit even harder. Supported by Anaxa's traits, the lady whose intellect is numerically immeasurable sends off the bad students by saying, "Hear me out." However, these students refuse to give up and insist on a retest. If we're patient in their teaching, the examiners decide to grant their request. However, there are still some weaknesses on the students, so qualitative disclosure isn't gone yet. Professor Anaxa uses his skill and triggers his talent's additional effect, once again adding many stacks of interpretation to help the omniscient and omnipotent true genius. When interpretation reaches 42 stacks, the radiantly beautiful lady once again says, "Hear me out." The ultimate truth of the universe is revealed here, and the students are no match for the examiner's incessant questions. Ha, ding ding, exam's over, hand in your papers. And that's a wrap for this episode. I have a request. Miss Hyacine, I've heard you've been a doctor at the Grove of Epiphany for many years. Can you treat my hair loss, perchance?
Birdie, why are you bald?
It's all because of your prophecy. The greatest threads are hidden in the hall where thousands laugh with joy. Turns out the greatest threads were on my head all along.
Don't worry, I see this all the time. After all, the Grove of Epiphany is full of brilliant minds, and with everyone overworking their brains on research, hair loss is an everyday occurrence.
Is that the true cost of knowledge?
Take this, ingest it, and apply externally.
Wait, does that mean Professor Anaxa is also?